This is the SoundLab at Home, Australia's top rock program with all the best guests from coast to coast and around the world. Here's your host, music industry veteran, director of the SoundLab Music School, and author of Why Learn Music, Melbourne's Princess of Rock, Leah Gallin.
Our pal Redro Redriguez, aka Red, has worked for the likes of Joe Camilleri and Cherry Bar as a sound engineer. He talks to me about what he's been up to these days as a producer at his Peninsula-based studio, Moonah Arts Collective.
Alrighty.
All right. I am recording, I believe. Say that I'm recording anywhere? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little red light.
That's right, the red light. That means we're recording. Hi, Red.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I'm here today with Red, Redrigo, or whatever you'd like to call him, a.k.a. Red, obviously.
Redro Redriguez.
Redro, right. So I used to be Red, actually, and I've gone lavender recently, which is quite weird. It's a bit of a change. Like, I went to my hairdresser and I said, oh, maybe I'm going to go Red. And she went, no, you've done that. And ironically, the first interview that I'm doing for this show is with Red. So it wouldn't have made sense. If I should be lavender, you should be red. There you go. So,
what was your first hair colour?
Oh, originally I was just boring, sort of blonde tips, and then I got outrageous in my later life. Like, I did the one hair colour for like ever. It was really like Girl Next Story, which is the picture that you've probably seen on Tinder. We'll go there. Yes. And it doesn't look like me at all. And everybody goes, gee, when they meet me, or if they've met me, go, it doesn't look like you at all. I go, yeah, incognito. That was like 30 years ago, and now I'm old. And now I have a purple rinse in my hair. So that's where we're going in this day and age.
Oh, well, Andy Warhol dyed his hair grey because he didn't want to deal with young people's problems anymore. He wanted to move on to older people's problems. So at age 35, he went silver.
Silver fox, it's the way to go. Like, age gracefully, why not,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well, own it. Own it first before it owns you.
Own it. Sure. So, Red, I'd like to say hi and thank you and welcome to the SoundLab's At Home show. You're the first guest that we've had on our show. It's pretty special. So I'd like you, if you will, tell us a little bit about yourself, like who you are, Red, and what you do and where you come from, your background and your music in the first place.
All right. Well, I'm a Melbourne. I was born in Brisbane. I'm a Melbourne lad, though. Grew up here. Don't remember a time when I didn't love music. I'd always sung since I was a toddler, and started playing guitar in my teens, and started roadieing for bands when I was 18, and did do the sound engineering course and sometime in 1994, and then it's just sort of been a mix of careers and a strange journey through the Melbourne music industry all the while. It's which has led me here down on the Mornington Peninsula, where I've started my own studio.
So yes, you are in the most wonderful part of the world now. And what led you to go down that way?
I saw the riots. I think I saw the riots in London in 2009. I thought that's coming. It's probably still coming.
You preempted this whole isolation.
Yeah, I kind of I thought that this society was on the brink of collapse, and it was time to move out to the country, to the beach. And it's also owning the lifestyle you want instead of just waiting for your career to reach a certain point where you can live, somewhere like this. I just decided I was going to live. Hit 40 and went, right, well, this, like, I'm halfway through, and I'd like to get through as much of it as possible with the original equipment.
Right.
There were certain things I haven't achieved in life that were still important to me. So I made steps to watch what I ate and drank and took part in, and what things I enjoyed, and being part of nature. I've always wanted to live down here ever since I was very, very young, and I've always loved the beach, and I really like it down here.
Yeah,
and it's very different to living in Melbourne, and I kind of liken, the desert rock scene in California that comes out of Joshua Tree.
Yes.
I want the peninsula to be like Joshua Tree. I want the peninsula to be to Melbourne what Joshua Tree is to LA.
So how would people know you, Red? I suppose in terms like you did, obviously, Cherry Bar, you've done all the sound and stuff there.
Well, yeah.
To fame, or?
I'd probably, be most famous for, my 8.5 years behind the desk at Cherry Bar. So I met a lot of people there.
Yes, as you do.
Yeah. Done a few mixing jobs for Even and Stiff Richards. I mixed their first record, and done a few other things in the studio realm.
So you mentioned to me the Stiff Richards, which is an interesting one.
Yes.
About them a little bit. And you were saying that they have a record from only
2017. It's $80.
Wow. So
they only did 150, so
only 150. So literally $80. Wouldn't you, redo it?
They are.
That's decent.
They've been posting images of their new seagull shit coloured vinyl.
Oh, great! Seagull shit colour. That's a colour.
Yeah,
you're calling it that. It is now. There you go. Yeah. Is that the cheaper one to press, or you get a discount?
No. Black is always the cheapest to press, but that's,
so they pay more for the seagull shit, is what you're saying.
Well, it's thematically linked to the peninsula. We've got two beaches, so we've got a lot of seagulls, and we've got a lot of seagull shit. So it's a shout out to the hood.
That's nice. So how are they going? I mean, obviously, touring and stuff has been brought to a standstill. So how's it been with that, down the peninsula way?
Oh, there's definitely a hunger for gigs. There's, there's definitely bands that are itching to do stuff, and we're lucky we can set them up in here and sort of do it with a minimal crew. So we're doing live shows in our gallery space and posting them to YouTube. So the next one is actually going to be Stiff Richards. We're recording that on Tuesday, and we'll probably put it out sometime the week after, because we'll be, we want to have a reasonably high production quality on it, have good sound, good video, and aim to have that turned around in a week and up on YouTube.
And here bringing in the biz, is a beautiful Reddy. Beautiful. We're Hair and Rye at the beautiful Moonah Arts Collective.
I'm told you're going to give me a virtual tour, so maybe you should do that now, because I'd like to know how many
virtual tour
and what does the studio look like. I mean, it's only a short drive down the freeway.
It is. It's actually probably about an hour 20 from Melbourne.
An hour 20. So you're a bit further, because I usually go Safety Beach to Jumana, so it's a little bit further, but it's a beautiful part of the world.
It's about 20 minutes up the road.
And you're calling it Moonah Arts Collective, is that right?
Moonah Arts Collective.
Here it is. Oh, I like that.
It is. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, and that one's not. Oh gosh, I'm tripping over. Yeah. Is it back to front?
No, it's definitely the right way. That's great.
Okay, great.
So carry on with your tour.
All right. Well, what is around me is a gallery space. Behind me is an amplifier. There's a little window there. We go out to our courtyard. Not courtyard.
Bay views, no? You outdoor though.
Our gorgeous grey concrete car park.
Beautiful.
Simple.
Open spaces.
Simple.
Yeah.
Keep the rent low so that we can pass the savings on to the artists.
That's the way it should be. Yeah. As long as it does the job.
Yeah, it does the job, does a great job. And in here is our rehearsal room, tracking room.
Beautiful.
So this is one of my favourite microphones here, the C414. Love the gold. Perfect for a Leo.
Yes, a lion in you makes it gold. Yes.
House kit.
Nice.
Great little PVPA for rehearsing. That's quite adequate. And in here we have the control room.
Beautiful.
We got a M32 mixing desk for routing everything around. Pro Tools, which is not up and running at the moment. We've just got Facebook. But
that's all that you need anyway. Zoom and Facebook. Yeah. That's the way of the future.
Zoom and Facebook is the future. It's the only apps you need. Yep. And your internet banking.
Yes, of course.
What have you got there? You've got the Jimmy Page twin neck thing there behind you.
Oh.
In that room, I just thought. Because that was the Gibson business card had that image of Page with the twin.
Hang on.
The twin neck. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little model.
It's a mini one. It's a mini twin neck. Oh, my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, these are things that we got from Baja's.
Oh, okay, so we'll put this in for sure.
Yeah, like we've collected all these things from various venues and places that we've worked at and we've liked. There's tradition here. So these pictures are from Baja's. This is the DJ desk from Cherry Bar.
Oh, wow.
And the old foldbacks from Cherry Bar.
Does James know about that?
Well, they were thrown out. These are all things that were thrown out and that we're going to be, that I took and I got repaired. So they're all goners.
So thank you for your tour. Anyway, it's fantastic, your space, which is great. And so how long have you been there now?
We moved in here in November. So we've been sort of going for about 6 months.
I want to ask you a bit about your background in terms of like your influences and how you got into music and stuff like that. So what I want to ask you is, what's the first song you ever recall hearing?
First song. Probably the first one that jumps out is Yellow Submarine, because we used to sing it in kindergarten. They had a big yellow tractor tire, and we'd all sit in the big yellow tractor tire and sing Yellow Submarine.
Yep.
That was... but also church hymns, because my parents made me go to church. And a lot of Beatles and Paul McCartney. That's sort of my favourite thing when I was a kid.
You must be my long lost brother, because kind of all I learned, I had that force fed, I think, and I did it as well, church stuff and all that. So yeah. And I want to know if you have ever had any music lessons or any formal training or anything to do what you...
Yes, I've had a lot of singing lessons, actually, different singing lessons. I did foundation in music studies at Box Hill TAFE, which was a fantastic experience. I studied, I had guitar teachers when I was a teenager and then again in my 20s, and... I've done, because I love singing. So, I enjoy studying it with, if I find a teacher that I find, particularly inspiring, then it's good to just meet people and sing and learn singing.
Absolutely. Obviously worked at Cherry Bar for 8 odd years solid, of all the artists and stuff that you saw coming through there. And how was that, like having to adjust and adapt to all these different acts?
Well, it wasn't particularly challenging in multiple instrumentation. There were some shows where you had a different, setup for each band. One band would have, 3 guys playing, kick drums and guitars, and then the next band would have, would be a conventional rock and roll band or something, and then you've got to change the whole stage in between. But the challenges are usually on the quieter nights, where people are only just discovering themselves as artists and not knowing their limitations.
Right. So it wasn't like a set and forget thing. The room always sounded the same. Obviously you had to adapt, but you're saying it was probably the other way around, that the artists had to adapt to you in the room. Is that so?
Well, it's a small stage. The fallback options were limited. It was rare that, any artist could get everything that they wanted out of the Cherry system as it was when I was there.
Well, my experience was that a lot of bands were, always said that you were the top one that they wanted to have at the helm.
I was definitely the most experienced. I think you were the favourite. At the most hours.
Yeah. So, lots of bands, lots of stuff going through in 8 years for sure. It's amazing innings, so well done.
Yeah, I did the sums towards the end and went, all right, I was there 8.5 years, and that was like worked out to maybe 4 days per week, which is about 200 days per year, 3 bands per night, and then it sort of gets up around 5,500 individual sets.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I did the hours. Yeah,
you did the hard yards. Well done.
Yeah.
That brings me to my next question: is like, why do you think, as human beings, we're driven to make music and get involved in it?
Oh, well, there's the communication aspect. There's the way it brings people together. There's the way it soothes us and sort of has an antidepressive effect. For other people, for that sort of rock star sort of person, it could be that they didn't get much attention, and by performing music, they get attention and they feel validated again. There's so many reasons, and I've subscribed to all of them. I've been all of these things.
Not just one thing.
I haven't done it all for wholesome reasons. Yeah.
So it's not just for fame and fortune. It's, an exploration of yourself or...
Yeah, but at a certain point you have to decide, am I doing this to be a rock star or am I doing this to be a musician? And they're 2 very different sort of roles. Musicians are fairly workaday sort of people. They wear, drab, unfashionable clothing, and they come in and they do their musical job without fuss or with the minimum of pyrotechnics. When you're working in studios, you see these guys, they come in and they play beautifully and they get the job done, and nobody knows who they are. They're a credit in a film that flies by. They're some liner note that hardly gets read, but they're the ones that make music, and they make music happen, and they're the ones that producers call when they need to, when they're hearing a sound and they know this person can get it. And I worked at Woodstock Studios with Joe Camilleri, and this is a big part of it. And I experienced this sort of work-a-day sort of musician's lifestyle, and saw that as something more sustainable in the long run than trying to be a rock star. It's sort of like...
make a career out of it, I suppose, is it? It's like...
Well, you can use it as, I just accepted that my life would have many income streams, and that I would do many different things, and when one falls over, the other 2 will pick up the slack or whatever, and that's if you include music in that sort of philosophy, instead of the sort of do or die, give 120% to it as you often do in your 20s.
Yeah.
You know, you can do it sustainably. You can get a little bit, you know, through the week, and it's a couple of $100 and do other stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of Melbourne musicians survive. And I think, you know, since the 90s, most of the people in the industry are sort of, you know, musicians / photographers / you know, PR / you know, and that you survive by getting a little bit of everything, you know, and exploring as many skills as possible.
Yeah.
And sort of when someone says, well, I've got this job and it's kind of it's sort of what you do, but it's a little bit not what you do, but you might expand into another area.
Yes.
You know, and then and that's sort of where a lot of things sort of come up.
Well, I think musicians as a whole, like, and you hear that from like really qualified people who are modest, still say, even big names, you know, they still say you've got to be adaptable, you've got to be able to fit any brief. You know, you can't sit there and say, I do one genre and that's it, because you can't expect to survive.
Yeah.
If you like.
Yeah, you'll get 18 months out of a genre and then it'll, you know, move on to the next thing.
So being able to be adaptable as a musician is obviously a career.
Yeah, and to love music instead of to love a genre. You know, to
anything go.
Or to find something in anything, you know. So like, you know, even if it is those church hymns or whatever, and you know, there's every piece of music serves a purpose to someone somewhere, and you know, there's a reason it exists, and you just got to find that reason. You don't have to fall in love with it. It doesn't have to make the hair on the back of your, you know, arms stand up, but there's a reason it exists and a purpose that it fulfills for the audience. Yeah.
And what about for the individual as well? I suppose that's the other thing. Like, I mean, I'm here talking to you from a music school, and I guess exactly what you're talking about is like, why is it beneficial, do you think, for a person to say, get into learning a musical instrument, whether it's in later life or young age as a beginner or what have you?
I think it's better. You meet a lot of people that wish they learnt an instrument, you know, and you don't want to be one of those people.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
You know, you're far better off just applying the time and the energy and learning the instrument, and it's like, oh, okay, you know, I've achieved this level, but really I'd like to do this. And you put the instrument down, that's fine. At least you don't start conversations with, I always wanted to be a musician, but you know, or I always wanted to play guitar. I was like,
and it's still on your bucket list. You
know, if you are a musician, when you hear that question, it's sort of like, I put in the hours, you could put in the hours. It's sort of, it's you know, I am living proof it's not that unattainable.
It's attainable. It's a learnable thing. Like, and I used to think that even when, you know, I became a music educator, I've seen people come in, like tone deaf people that literally can't hear the note, just can't. And they can actually sing a song by the time that they go through a course with one of our teachers. Like, and that's the before and after scenario, which you wouldn't expect, I guess. But
they're all things that you can train, and it's sort of, I think a lot of people are brought up maybe with extra critical parents that go, oh, you can't sing, don't sing, just you know, crush, or you know, they just have these crushing traumatic experiences as they're growing up, and they're convinced that they don't have a skill. But we're all born with the same meat, you know. It's we can learn something, you know, to the point that we wish to learn it, and we become distracted and get into something else. But you know, it's
that's one of the things.
At least take a step on the adventure, you know.
Of course, yeah. Well, I suppose that's what, like, we've sort of got three sort of areas of all types of people that would come to us. It would be the absolute beginner, for instance, and then you'd have the person that's, you know, self-taught. They probably require a coach to get to that next level. And then you've got the people that are dusting off an instrument, or, you know, they probably were pushed as a child and and then they were doing AMEB grades or whatever in piano and blah, 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 but they just want to play for fun. And they, you know, as you develop in life, things have to give. Sometimes that happens for people in music, and people want to revisit that stuff. So it's either a bucket list or a revisit, you know. I think that's probably the best way to sort of put it.
Yeah, it's driven by passion. You gotta have a passion to make those first steps, and you know, anyone in music has made a choice to follow their passion instead of what is the most lucrative thing in the world right now that I could possibly do, you know. And right now, who knows what that is?
It's like, yeah. But at least it makes you, you know, following a passion makes you happy and satisfied in a way, at least. And this is a thing, you're doing it for yourself, are you doing it for others, or that whole thing? I mean, do you feel like that when you're, you know, producing all these artists now and you're taking their work and you're doing something with it? Do you feel?
I jump at things that make me excited, and in the process of making a record, you go, actually, that makes me excited. Let's do that again, or do it with a bit more focus on this part. And I find it to be I lose myself in it. I kind of forget to sort of, not that it's a bad thing, but I become less self-conscious about what I say or the ideas that come out. And I sort of jump into a flow state where we're just sort of, you know, steering the record towards making itself. You know, right. Jump out at things that call out.
Use a bystander sort of thing.
Yeah, you know, not an innocent bystander, but a professional bystander, perhaps. Yeah.
So, Desert Island, top 5 albums that have influenced your life. What are they?
Oh, geez. Drive-By Truckers, The Big To Do. I love that. They're a southern rock band. They're kind of like Tom Petty meets Husker Du on this record. They're like, yeah, great songs, buzzy guitars. Sonic Youth's Daydream Nation was a really important record for me when it came out in 1988. Caius's Blues for the Red Sun, that's another really influential one. Rolling Stones, Exile on Main Street. Led Zeppelin's Physical Graffiti. So there's a couple of double albums for your Desert Island discs, which come in handy. Sometimes you just need the hours.
You want the album, don't you? Because you need the time. Absolutely. Double albums as you can. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully we end up there one day, smashing that and coconuts. Why not? So in light of the negative impact of COVID, you know, on the music industry, what do you think? What do you think is the positive that's come out of it? You know, like how do you think the music industry is going to look in time?
It's very, very concerned about live venues, and that's fair because they will suffer, but they will also probably be the first thing to bounce back because you know, creating a venue is probably easier than starting a record label or creating a movement or you know, anything. And so I think there's a market for live music. While there's a market for live music, there will always be live music venues. And so I think we will sort of jump back into shape fairly quickly, you know, in the next 18 months to 3 years. As for I think it will inspire artists to, because it will inspire artists because the thing that changes us is looking crazy. You know, it's starting to look crazy to sort of keep, you know, the corporate machine alive. So they're going to turn to their art. You know, I think, and that people will become more passionate about local musicians and supporting local musicians. And I think it will also become more localized. Supply lines will become shorter. It will you know, people will well, I suppose in my case, I'm devoting myself to my own locality. And I think there needs to be more than that, because more of that because, you know, it might be very hard for us to make an international pop star. We can probably make a local legend fairly easily.
Yeah. But that's the focus, is the importance is on that, you know, and what it means.
It's sort of like, you know, these people, they know each other, they make music for each other, and it can work at its simplest and most grassroots level at the very least. And you know, that's where I want to focus with the Moonah Arts Collective.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you see that, you know, obviously I've got a fantastic array of teachers at the SoundLab, and many teachers that have come and gone who've, you know, they've all been working musicians. So they've all been our friends, you know, and that's the whole thing. It's the localised sort of scene that particularly Melbourne has. I mean, as opposed to of Australia, obviously, but it's like, you know, it's going to the Espy or going to the Cherry or going to wherever to go and see one of your mates playing in the band room, you know, like, and everyone turns out and everyone supports, and everyone's having to pay the door cover, whatever it may be, just to support, because, you know, you chip in and you help.
Going to see the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I wanted to ask you as well, so for people out there wanting to learn a musical instrument or learn to sing, you know, why do you think it's important for people to learn music, learn to play music?
I can say as a producer and a sound engineer, people who learn music are easier to work with because they understand things like, you know, tempo and pitch and timing and tuning and how to achieve all of those things. Also, I think you need to learn a musician needs to learn a work ethic from somebody, at least, hopefully somebody good. And I see a lot of self-taught musicians. They can become very good musicians, but they don't always play nicely with others because they haven't developed a work ethic. You know, as far as for example, in jamming, giving or taking the lead, or, you know, negotiating, or even just, you know, behaving in a professional manner and making sure that nobody around you has to work harder for, you know.
So it's really
as a result of your behaviour.
Yeah, it really is a collective thing, even if you're a singer, you know, for instance.
Yeah, and that's a lot of self-taught people don't sort of understand the protocols and connections between other musicians. It's sort of like, well, we have all of these protocols in place that have been around for for 50, 60 years since recording studios and gigs have been about. And, you know, of course, the new musicians don't always have somebody to teach them what these protocols are, and they step on a few toes for the first couple of years.
Oh, you've got to be in it to win it, don't you? And I think it's one of those things. If you don't understand it, you're not going to cut it in the Australian industry, for sure. There's so many phenomenally talented people. Like, Australia is just unbridled bloody music talent. You just think the industry, or, you know, as isn't supporting it enough. That's what it always feels like.
Yeah, no, I have, as, you know, people I work with and as my friends, like, incredible world-class musicians. We are incredibly blessed, and due to market conditions, these people are going very cheap. You know? They deserve they deserve so much more if they're you know, perhaps in a different culture that valued, you know, the incredible, you know, achievements that they've made with their instruments and skills and stuff. Even in their careers, you know, there are people that have made it overseas in some sort of niche, and, you know, they come back to Australia and they're ignored.
Yes,
I mean,
bizarre, isn't it?
There was this thing, a lesson that I was taught in this Rose Tattoo documentary, the Lucy DeSoto Rose Tattoo documentary, and they talked about, you know, Rose Tattoo playing massive festivals in Europe and then coming back and struggling to do 250 in a pub.
Yeah.
You know,
It's bizarre, isn't
it is bizarre, and you know, and that's the market
due to the lack of population that we have in comparison to like America. But
the lack of support.
talking about Europe, it's like they're into music, whereas Australians, probably, they're into sport probably over music. For instance, full AFL rules over maybe music in people's lives.
I really think the radio stations are missing an opportunity to connect big time.
Yeah.
To connect with local people and local artists and generate a homegrown, industry. Radio should be a part of it. It's missing out on producing its own sound and having its own sort of reason to exist by just playing stuff from other countries and other eras when there's things
list that's been going on for how long,
Yeah, and it could be feeding into it instead of losing relevance.
What about local radio and Triple J Unearth? I know we had a girl that I won't name names, but used to work for us, and she's catapulted into the stratosphere off Triple J Unearth. It's amazing. So
it can happen still.
It can happen, those things. I think, and local radio as well. I think is important. At least they give exposure to local artists and things like that. So that's good.
Yeah. I think things like Fox and Triple M. I nearly said Eon FM. Triple M are kind of missing an opportunity to sort of develop a very powerful local industry.
So, look, I just wanted to give you a shout out. Obviously, you were talking about the bands that you're working on at the moment. Do you want to talk about them?
Yep. We're just finishing a record by Fergus and the Gurners.
Yep.
I'm not sure when that'll be out, but they want to do some more stuff. But I'm very excited by that. Sounds really good. I'm very happy with it. We put out my band, Rennie and the Shit Chair, which I play guitar in. So we recorded that and put that out, and that's up on Bandcamp. Just search for Rennie and the Shit Chair. It's on Spotify. It's on everywhere. Shit Chair, SHITCHIR.
It is a swear word, yes. Okay.
It is. Sorry. Yes, it is. You can cut that out.
I thought you said ship share. Sorry, yes. Anyway.
And the SHIT chair.
Yes. I love it. Okay, and so if we want to come and record at the studio, so where are you exactly? What's your address?
We're at Factory 2, 106 Melbourne Road in Rye.
Yep.
And
what's the website?
Well, probably best for our Facebook, which is facebook.com/Moonah Arts, MOONAHARTS. We'll pop the link in the things underneath the thingo.
That's what we will do. We'll definitely pop the thing in the thingo.
Touch my bells and buzzers.
Absolutely. So, look, I just want to thank you very much for your time in talking to us today. It was very interesting.
You're welcome, Leah. It's great chatting with you.
Yeah. Next time we'll be in person.
Okay.
And we'll be at a gig hopefully somewhere.
Yeah.
It'll be wonderful. With people.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
You're on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
It's been great.
It has been.
All right. Take care, sweetheart. All the best.
You too. Bye.
The SoundLab sincerely appreciates your support in watching our content. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more of the SoundLab at home.